Today we got a story time of a Minecraft kid who thinks SCP-096 is out to get him. Leave a like in the video to claim your free nothing, subscribe, and let's get right into it. So we're going to call the subscriber who sent in today's story, we're going to call him Ryan. Anyways, this all happened on one Friday night. Ryan was playing some Minecraft as he usually did. And he was playing some doubles in Minecraft or whatever, and he was just queuing with random people. It also just happened to be kind of like a rainy and stormy night out, and it was getting dark kind of early. It was that time of the year, and kind of the atmosphere was just a little bit spooky. But anyways, right, Ryan was playing some Minecraft doubles, and he was just queuing with random people who wanted to play with him. And, normally, right, people would sometimes just quit immediately. Some people would, not be very good. Some people would talk to him and be nice. But then there was this one guy who queued with him. And there was just something strange about his username. And, Ryan doesn't exactly remember his username, but he just remembers that something about, this guy's username just made him feel a little uneasy. And it was like when Ryan was sitting in the generator getting resources. If you don't know, in Bed Wars, right, you try and protect your bed, and you also get, gold and iron and stuff to, you can sit in your bed to get gold and iron, and, you get resources to get blocks or whatever. Kind of irrelevant to the story. But when, Ryan was sitting there getting resources to build a protection for his bed, this player that queued with him would just be staring at him. His character would just be staring at his character. It was just very weird. It was just very strange. It was just a little bit creepy. And anyways, right after the game, Ryan and this guy actually won. No one else in the party or no one else playing that round of Bed Wars was very good. And Ryan was pretty good. And the guy he was playing with was actually surprisingly decent for, a random person he queued with who was acting kind of strange. He was surprisingly pretty good at the game. And anyways, right before Ryan was about to hop into another Bed Wars queue to play again with another random person, he received a party request from this guy. And Ryan was thinking to himself, all right, that's, it's a little strange. This guy's a little weird, but he's also pretty good. I would like to win some more games. If you don't know, in this Minecraft mode, if you party with someone, that basically means that you can play with them or on the same team as them. And anyways, right, so Ryan, he accepted the party request because he's thinking to himself, all right, why not? And anyways, right, so Ryan was about to go, and he asked, oh, do you want to play another game? Because in the party, you can, chat with each other. He's like, oh, do you want to play a game? We make a pretty good team, haha. And the guy who he teams with doesn't respond right away. And Ryan's just a little bit weirded out by that. He's like, okay, this is a little bit strange. I don't understand. And then he gets a message in the party chat from the other guy, and it says, do you want to know the truth? And at this point, right, Ryan was feeling a little freaked out. He was feeling a little weirded out. He was a little uncomfortable with what was going on, but at the same time, right, he was just kind of randomly playing Minecraft on a Friday night just because he was kind of bored. And this definitely felt like this would, either scare him, maybe, but it would most definitely cure his boredom. So we responded, yeah, sure, what's up? So after a second of waiting, the guy that, Ryan had queued with responded, do you know the legend of SCP-096? At this point, right, Ryan was, somewhat, into, he was on the internet. He wasn't, not on the internet at this point. And the thing is, though, right, Ryan just didn't know anything about, creepypastas and, and anything like that. He didn't know about, internet, horror stories or whatever. So he had no idea about anything about, SCP Foundation or any of the other SCPs. So he responded, no, I don't know what that is. So Ryan, responds, no, he doesn't know what that is. And, after a second of waiting, right, he finally gets the first message saying, message me on Discord. And then the random guy that Ryan queues with gives him his Discord as well as his Discord number, whatever, however you add people on Discord. By the way, I have a Discord server. You should join it in the description. Anyways, right, so he adds him on Discord, and Ryan is really interested at this point because he's like, I'm no longer bored, to say the least. He's also aware of stranger danger, and people on the internet are probably weirdos, so be careful. But at the same time, man, he wants something interesting in his life, dude. He wants something interesting happening, and this is the definition of something interesting. So anyways, after, a minute or two, Ryan eventually gets the ad back, and the guy starts typing. He's like, so, do you really want to know about the legend of SCP-096? And sure enough, Ryan is like, yeah, what is it? I don't know what that is. The guy says, all right, let me give you a little bit of a backstory. And by the way, this backstory or this explanation of SCP-096 will not be exactly like whatever the relevant lore is, because this guy wanted to like alter like the internet legend a little bit just to scare Ryan a little bit more. So don't eviscerate me in the comment section. I'm just reading what I've been told over DM. By the way, if you want to submit a story, Instagram is in the description. That's how you submit them. Yeah. So this guy starts to explain over Discord to Ryan that SCP-096 is a monster that was captured by a special unit of the government, also known as, the SCP Foundation. And he said the only reason that he knows about this happening is because there was a leak of this on like the dark web or the dark internet. Basically, if you ever want to spook someone, to say, ooh, dark net, ooh, the deep web, and everyone's going to be like, ah, even though it's mostly just like databases and files, but whatever, right? He's like, there's a leak on the dark web. And I was one of the few that was able to see it. And apparently, right, the government is housing this creature. And along with the leak, there's an image. So he drops an image in chat. And it looks something along the lines of this. Obviously, he chooses an image that's a little bit less video gamey. But anyways, right, he puts the image in chat. He's like, the legend is, right, this creature, anyone who sees this creature's face, the creature will start to like scream and wallow or whatever. But then after about a minute or two of screaming, it'll just go on a destructive rampage and he will destroy anyone who sees his face. And also he makes this terrible high-pitched scream, while he's doing it. At this point, right, Ryan's starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable because like he has this sense that like this is like all fake or whatever, because I think Ryan's like, I'm going to make the assumption he's like 12 or 13 at this point. So he has a feeling this is all fake, right? But at the same time, right, it's still a little odd. It's still a little bit creepy. And the guy that Ryan messages goes on to say like, yeah, by the way, I forgot to let you know one thing. And Ryan's like, oh, what's that one thing? He said, anyone who sees his face at SCP-096 will be after. And Ryan's like, oh, okay, like, why did you have to specify that? You already said it. And the guy says, oh, yeah, by the way, it doesn't have to be his face in person. It can simply be a photo of his face. And at this point, right, Ryan is starting to like, even though he doesn't totally believe this, he's starting to feel this kind of like feeling of like, oh my God. Like, and Ryan starts typing and he's like, is the image you showed me, is that a real image? Real quick, comment SCP down below in the comment section so I can see who made it this far into the video. I'll be trying to heart as many comments as I can that comment SCP down below. But if you want a better chance of getting a heart, because I can't heart them all, comment it maybe 2 or 3 times. There's a better chance I'll see it and a better chance you'll get a heart. Even if you don't get a heart, just know I really do appreciate you watching. But anyways, right, so Ryan types in the Discord chat, is this real is this image like a real image of him? Because he's starting to realize that if what this guy is saying is true, which he's like, oh, I don't believe it, but if, right, he kind of does believe it at this point, but like, if what this guy is saying is true, like, he just showed him an image, right, of SCP-096. Like, this is basically a death sentence. And the guy Ryan was talking to on Discord responds, yes, ... Your time is limited. And at this point, Ryan's like, he's like, wait a minute. Why isn't your time limited? If you had this photo on your desktop and you sent it to me, that definitely means that like you saw this image. So Ryan thought like, oh, I got him, ha ha ha, or whatever. And the guy responds, oh, you don't understand. I've never actually seen this image. I downloaded software that scrambles every picture of this image so that I will never actually see it. And after the guy says this, Ryan just has this weird sinking feeling. Like, he still doesn't totally believe it, but the story was, like, detailed and scary enough that, like, he was just feeling it. And at this point, Ryan, instead of, like, engaging anymore with this guy on Discord, he simply just unadds the guy in Discord, blocks him, logs on the Hypixel, removes the guy from his friends list, gets out of the party with him, just tries to disconnect from this guy, deletes the chat on Discord, like, just tries to forget about everything that, was happening. And for a while, right, Ryan was successfully, he just forgot about, like, the whole SCP-096 incident, right? He just didn't even think about it, because he was just, like, back on Bed Wars, just queuing random people, and, like, he didn't queue this guy again for, like, the rest of the night, so that's not what happens. However, right, if you do remember when the guy was explaining what happens, like when the SCP guy goes on like a destructive rampage, he makes this like wailing sound, the screeching, screaming, wailing sound. And if you guys don't know, if you live with foxes, foxes will make this really loud screeching wailing sound late at night. And I know this because where I live, there's a ton of like foxes that roam around at night and they make this like screaming sound. It actually was really scary the first time I heard it. And the thing is, right, where Ryan lived, there hadn't been foxes that lived there for years. So like Ryan, like he does remember in retrospect that that happened many years ago, but it took him a while to remember that. But anyways, in the moment, he was just sitting there playing some Bed Wars, playing some Minecraft, right? Just like chilling, having a pretty good time. And he's sitting there and he's mid-game. He's just queued with some random guy. And he hears this screeching sound coming from outside. And the thing is, right, it's the sound of the foxes. However, he's not thinking about foxes. He's thinking about what this random guy on Discord told him about what the SCP-096 does when he's on his like destructive rampage and when he's coming for you. And it sounded exactly like that. And because of this like coincidence, right, this guy like was obviously going around trying to scare people, and there's not a chance he could have known that like this guy lived with foxes. It was just a really terrible coincidence, right? But the fact that like after seeing the image and he hears the exact sound, the scary sound that he was told he was going to hear, Ryan just like freezes in his chair and his heart starts racing so fast. And he just like gets out of his chair, goes to his door, slams it shut, locks it. And his mom is just like in the other room and is like, Ryan, is everything okay? And he's like, yep, everything's good. I'm good. And legitimately for the rest of the night, like he didn't go to bed till like 5 in the morning when he just like could not stay up any later, right? He stayed in his room, lights on. He just sat up in his bed. He didn't even like lie down in his bed. He sat like straight up vertically in his bed for the entire night until he fell asleep forcefully at like 5 a.m. And when he woke up, he was like woke up in a panic because he was sure that like the SCP-096 was about to be right above him, right? And honestly, for the next couple weeks, like Ryan was like terrified. After about 2 weeks, Ryan decided to face his fears and look online to see if there was any information about SCP-096, and that's when he realized the whole thing is like an internet joke or an internet hoax or whatever, and that yes, no, SCP-096 is not out to get him.